One of the strangest things that Caesar has encountered in the forests of Bangladesh as a young conservation biologist is a female great hornbill that got stuck in a hole in the trunk of a tree, that had somehow grown around her as she sat there tending her eggs on her nest. Unable to escape, her steadfast mate kept her alive for 2 years, feeding her every day through a crack in the hole, and it's just as if she were a chick. When Caesar eventually managed to rescue her, her body was so atrophied that she could no longer fly. And he was deeply moved by the loyalty and the dedication of this mate that had kept her alive all that time. And it was exactly these kinds of moments that enchanted him and brought him to become deeply fascinated about nature. Caesar was a shy child, but he was born into the densely populated and conformist society of urban Bangladesh. And he always felt more at peace with his pets. But going against the expectations of society, he decided to forge a path deep into a remote forest in the Chittagong Hill Tracts to go and study reptiles. And what I love about this independent streak of his, and also his real attention to detail about nature, is that it reminds me a little of a young Charles Darwin. But he is first and foremost a tenacious conservationist. His pragmatism is matched with a deep empathy that extends beyond the animals, also to the people that he works with, the Moro subsistent hunters who share that land, and of course the endangered reptiles that he's championed. He is blazing a trail in a country that is immensely fragile, completely overpopulated, and desperately challenging. And because of that, we are hugely proud that he has won this award today. Caesar.
I come from Bangladesh, a country with the highest population density in the world. A country half the size of Germany with 170 million people. That means over 1,000 people per square kilometer. Bangladesh is one of the fastest growing economy in the world right now. That means the country is hungry for development. So environment and wildlife conservation is a luxury in Bangladesh. As a kid, I was very shy, and when all my people my age played with toys and different things, and I spent all my time playing with my pet goats and chickens. And I really didn't fit in the society, so I found my refuge in nature and in my pets, with my pet goats and chickens. As I grew up, my passion didn't disappear. And then I continued exploring the wild in nature, and that's when I decided I'm going to pursue a career in conservation biology. And one of the first projects I did in Bangladesh was a radiotelemetry study of Burmese pythons, one of the largest snakes in the world, native to Southeast Asia. And that's when I really decided that I want to spend all my time and my life studying animals in nature, be aware with people, and just learn about them as much as I can, because that's where I really found home. So my journey took me to a wonderful place, one of the least explored area in the world, Chittagong Hill Tracts. It's bordering in Myanmar and India. This is one of the hottest biodiversity hotspots, one of the most threatened biodiversity hotspots in the world, the Indo-Burma biodiversity hotspot. And it's very remote, and due to the remoteness and the political instability for a long time, this area has been unexplored by scientists, by researchers. As a result, we know very little about what exists in that place. So at that time, I went there to really explore the area and to survey for reptiles and other animals. Chittagong Hill Tracts is a vast hilly terrain that comes from all the way to the southern Myanmar to northern Himalayas. And this area contains some of the last old-growth forests in the country. And when people think of Bangladesh, that people not think that such tree and such wilderness still exist in Bangladesh. And this is where I really found home in that forest, in that wilderness. And we documented, through my survey, conducted one of the most comprehensive wildlife survey ever done in the region, and through we found 30 globally threatened species in just a tiny area, including 8 species of wildcats found nowhere in the world, such as this elusive golden cat, and this clouded leopard, which lives in the canopy of the tropical forest, and sun bear, a playful sun bear, and this magnificent Asian elephants. And this picture moved me so much, looking for this baby elephants trying to hide from the people and to find refuge in that forest. And then here's the Chinese critically endangered pangolin. We still have their left. Out of all these majestic species, one of the species really stole my heart, which is Asian giant tortoise. This is the largest tortoise in Asia. It's critically endangered, only native to the forest of Southeast Asia. And this species became one of the flagship species of my project. So this forest is not just home for all those threatened wildlife. This is home for people as well. And there live those traditional, the Mro people, belong to the Tibeto-Burma linguistic group. And these people, this tribe, have been living there for hundreds of years, practicing traditional slash and burn agriculture and living on this wildlife for food. And I fell in love with the people as well, and their culture really fascinated me. I lived with them for months at a time and tried to learn about them, and I encountered so many stories, so many amazing stories that most of us are not aware of. Such as this Mro man, he captured this baby hornbill during the breeding season, and he sold that in the market. And he sold it for less than 100 euro, and with that money, he bought rice for his family. So that time we realized it's not always the greed, it's also to meet the basic need for the people. This wildlife has been destroyed. This is another story of this Asian giant tortoise on my left. There is a female, shell of a dead female, and just before I went there, that female was killed, and that female had 30 eggs inside her, and that female was killed for food. Unfortunately, I was there and able to rescue that male. And every day, all those rare animals have been hunted just to meet the daily food, from the endangered cats to hornbills to these giant pythons. And then that's me. Sorry. Okay. And to go back a slide, please. Okay. So this is when I realized it's not just the wildlife that need our help, it's the people as well. So they need help because people are destroying the environment because they are trying to survive their own life. And that when I spend a lot of time with the people, and I really wanted to learn them, and I became one of them. I spent time with them, I ate what they eat, and I just dressed like them, and just to really understand like what is motivating to all those threats. So what happened, I asked them, like, how can we solve this problem together? And they told me they want better life for their kids. They told me that they are in desperate need for schools for their kids. And then I told them, okay, I'll build schools for you. And we reached an agreement. We built schools, and in exchange for these schools, they agreed to cease hunting of the 15 highly threatened species, including the critically endangered Asian giant tortoise, elephants, pangolins, and hornbills, and gibbons. And right now, we have this schools for conservation program. That particular picture, you see that mountain tortoise school and the pangolin school, and 4 other schools. And in exchange of these schools, they agreed to cease hunting. And we have over 200 students, the tribal students, and many of them have the first-time opportunity to go to school. I also made friends with the hunters. And we involved the hunters directly in the project. So at the beginning of the project, I could criticize that if you're involving the hunter, you're encouraging the hunters to hunt. But it's exactly opposite happened. So we empowered those people to really take charge of their area and to really protect their own species. I gave them GPS, gave them calipers, I gave them cameras and trained them how to collect basic data. And these hunters became conservationists. In just 2 years, we have released over almost 100 specimens of turtles and tortoises back in the wild. And over 70% estimated of decrease in turtle hunting. And this is remarkable results. And I told them what motivated you. And these guys told, because we get more girls these days, because they're the cool guys in town. You can imagine the same guys who used to eat turtles for food now have this fancy backpack with the calipers, with the GPS, and they have the attention from the people. And that money is not the only thing that motivates people, it's that's the social status and the feeling of empowerment. And these guys have been remarkable, and they're the only solution for the problem. So this is only the part of the solution. There's so much to do. There'll be so much destruction of the forest, the encroachment, but this is the beginning. And thank you so much for the Future for Nature Fund that we are planning to initiate a captive breeding facility for Asian giant tortoise and other impaled species. And with the goal of increasing the number in captivity and releasing the offsprings back in the wild to increase their population. So this is the last part of my story. So people often ask me, okay, you know, you guys, you live such a glamorous life or fascinating life in the wild, but I tell them conservation is dark. So I go through loneliness. End of each month, I have to worry about paying my people a salary. And this has been the toughest battle I've ever been. But all those difficulties, I still see hope. And whatever it takes, I'm determined to really save this forest, the last wilderness in this earth. Because this is the only thing that comes from my heart. And thank you very much for all the help, for all the support. Thank you very much, His Majesty. Thank you.
What are you going to think, sorry? Ladies and gentlemen, Cesar.